My big conversation today is with that rock and roll legend, Joey Tempest. He's been the frontman of Europe, legendary band, for nearly 40 years now. And they're about to release a new album to mark this milestone. They're coming to the Lowry next month to celebrate. And I sat down with him recently to talk about his musical inspiration, his ambitions, and much, much more. Joey, if I could go back in a time machine and say to you 40 years ago that you would still be playing in that great rock and roll band Europe 40 years later, what would you say to me back?
There's no way we could see that far in the future back then. You know, when you're a kid, you know, you don't see that far. You see maybe a year. But we were dedicated and sort of rehearsing a lot, and we wanted to be like Deep Purple, a international touring rock band. We've gone through a long journey, which we have told everyone about in this documentary coming out, and it's been quite a journey.
I always ask this question if it's somebody that I've never interviewed before. So, what was the moment in time for you as a kid when you either saw a band on TV or saw a live band or heard maybe a record on the radio that made the young Joey think, I want to be in a rock and roll band?
We had cassette players back then, and somebody gave me a cassette with Led Zeppelin. I heard the song Black Dog.
Hey, hey, mama said the way you move gonna make you sweat, gonna make you...
And I just couldn't believe my ears. I thought, how can this be done? I mean, there's so much experience, so much expression in there. I mean, we could never do that, but we want to do it. And then we started researching, all of us. We'll go into gigs, see Deep Purple when they came back in '84 with Perfect Strangers. We went to see Thin Lizzy, Rainbow, Whitesnake, and just researched and looked at these and listened to albums. And the blueprint, I have to say, listening to Made in Japan, Deep Purple's live album, that was the blueprint as well. Listening to those drums and Blackmore's 100-watt Marshall and the way they played, they were a bit loose because I think they were, you know, in Japan, jet lagged, and they were very relaxed. And it's just an amazing record. Those things just triggered us, and we want to do that. We want to do that.
When you look at your output, and because I've been around a bit, I actually know what you've done. It's very easy to forget that you've had 3, 4, 5 really successful albums over here, more singles, but people always think of the Final Countdown. And you would be forgiven if you didn't know a lot about Europe, that it was that one hit. Can I ask you, is that song, for you, a burden or a blessing?
Over the years now, it's become quite fun to play it live. It brings everybody together, and it has quality live. I mean, I'm not walking around listening to the record at home or singing in the shower or anything, but playing that song at Hellfest, Download, Sweden Rock Festival, everybody comes together. And there's something about it. The melody and the way John plays it live on the guitar. No, it's really a blessing now. At this stage, it's part of our repertoire. I mean, we love other songs as well. And even the fans, the broader media, perhaps know Final Countdown more and some other songs, but in the rock world, where we managed to establish ourselves a bit now, there are other songs, Last Giddy and Firebox. There are other songs from other albums. Walk the Earth that we did in Abbey Road 6 years ago has become a classic with the fans. So we're happy with that. You know, we're happy playing those songs, but of course, Final Countdown brings it all.
Do you know, when I've asked that question, I can only remember the odd artist that has tried to duck the question. Because if you're fortunate enough to write an iconic tune like Final Countdown, is there a point where, you've played it probably thousands of times, and does it become a burden or a blessing? And I've got to say, virtually everybody I've ever spoken to, get the odd one, but mostly, they'll be really honest about it. And it can do both. It can be the absolute blessing. It can be the cornerstone, the day the door opened on your career. But it can also then become a bit of a weight on your shoulders and then become an absolute blessing again. So more from Joey Tempest tomorrow here. But let's return now to the second part of my chat. big conversations with Joey Tempest. He's been the frontman of Europe, legendary rock and roll band, for nearly 40 years now. They're coming to the Lowry next month, celebrating, touring the UK. And I started this part of our chat by asking Joey about how influential some British bands were on the music that his band made.
We had Swedish bands, but we preferred to listen to English lyrics and English players. And what I said earlier, the experience in Deep Purple's early stuff, how they mixed jazz, blues, and everything in hard rock. And also, what I find interesting about hard rock, coming from the British Isles or anywhere in Ireland, or there were some classical influences. There were some classical pieces in there. So the European rock bands, in the DNA we have from classical composers. We brought it in. Even the song The Final Countdown's got some classical elements. Even early Europe stuff in E minor, very heavy progressive stuff had it. And a lot of other artists from over here. It came a lot from the UK. We went to see Deep Purple on the Perfect Strangers tour, '84. We went to see Thin Lizzy a lot, Rainbow, Whitesnake. That was the best. It was just, for us, it was the bee's knees. It was like incredible. So we just went into rehearsal. So we want to be like them. We want to tour like them. Explain why that history bit is quite long. But I mean, when Cream started to crank it up, and it's hard to go back that far. But I have to say that Iron Maiden, even though maybe our music differs slightly, was very instrumental, because we're talking early 80s and they were on the go. Def Leppard was coming as well. But Iron Maiden was on the go, and we listened to those albums, even though our music didn't sound exactly the same. But they were instrumental. They had the attitude, the melodies, and they were just going for it, and we love that as well.
So I was playing the new single by the Rolling Stones the other day, and it's their 60 years those guys have been playing rock and roll. And you've a new single with Hold Your Head Up, and you've got the documentary, and you're touring. You're in my hometown, by the way, of Salford next month. How do you make sure, Joey, that the stuff that you're releasing and the way you perform keeps that energy that you had 40 years ago in 1983 and doesn't do anything where you're just going through the motions? How do you avoid that?
Something about the coalition, something about the five of us. We bring it out of each other. We really feel the music, and we can't stop ourselves, especially me and Ian. It's a physical thing. And we get into the zone, and we always have. We really love playing live, and I hope it shines through, and I hope we still have the same energy. And it seems like it. The festivals we did early in the summer went really well. And now we're going out on this 40th anniversary tour with a bit more songs. It's going to be a bit longer. But it'll be exciting as well, because we'll be able to play a few songs we haven't played in a while. So, yeah, we just keep going.
There might be times of wonder when I'm...
So, Joey Tempest, Hold Your Head Up, and this is their new single. The band, of course, are at the Lowry next month. But great talking to Joey about the influence of great British rock and roll bands,